Scheduling meetings over lunch is getting more and more common, but just because something happens often doesn't make it right. There are times in life when the seemingly innocent occasional request goes unchecked and becomes disrespectful or even abusive. Could this be one of those times? That's this week on the Badass Agile podcast. Greetings, team. Welcome to the Badass Agile podcast. I'm your host, Chris Williams. Greetings, everyone. Hello, welcome back. So great to have you here. I'm loving the response that we're getting on the listener questions, so thank you and keep sending them in. Now, those of you who know me and my all 1 hour meetings must die rap will already be able to guess what my answer to the following question is going to be. But first, let's remember why we're here. To create an elite tribe of leaders who truly serve their clients and communities by doing what matters and what works, relentlessly chasing value and excellence like a badass. There's so many resources about what you need to do to be agile, but we're focused on who you need to become in order to lead teams. So let's hammer down those fundamentals to create a unique and powerful force in this industry. And if this helps you, tell your friends. And don't forget to go to badassagile.com to ask me your leadership and coaching questions so I can answer them on an upcoming episode. You can also sign up to get Agile mindset tips delivered straight to your inbox twice a week. So this week's question comes from one of my favorite fans. He's a local guy. He's been with me since the beginning. His name is Alex. He's from Toronto. And here's his question. Why isn't the email badass@badassagile.com? Well, you know what? Where were you when I was planning all this stuff, man? I didn't think of it. Maybe I'll change it. But his real question is, what is your take on meetings scheduled over lunch, especially same-day bookings? And keep on doing what you're doing. Thanks, Alex. Well, Alex, thank you for the support, for the encouragement, and just for being a fan all this time. I really appreciate it. You're the guy that I do this for. So look, if you know me, you know that I believe first and foremost in the autonomy and liberty of people. There's nothing better about the times that we live in and the conditions in which we live, because it allows us the freedom to be anything we want to be. That's not limited to how far you can ascend a corporate ladder in somebody else's organization, but what you're capable of doing completely on your own. These are thrilling times. However, I routinely work nights and weekends and 18-hour days or 20-hour days, but that's because this is my passion in life. If you're like me and you believe in things like honor, getting after it, discipline, continuous improvement, self-inspection, and development, then you can basically set your own hours and you can write your own paycheck. You can rip up your existing job title and business card because it doesn't matter. Your employer is not your owner or your handler. They are your customer. Believing that a person has to agree to extended workdays comes from a need to control other people, not a true leadership sense of how to really fire up a team. Now, I have a team. I have a couple of teams, and I personally don't care so much when work gets done. I don't expect teams to work together from 9 to 5. I consider it lucky if we get a few time slots together working face-to-face every day a few days a week, and we can still be massively productive. When people tell me that they need 2 days to get stuff done, I believe them. If I need it to be sooner, I'll ask for a smaller increment or MVP, not for them to shovel more work into a smaller parcel of time. I don't ask them to throw down overtime. Now, can you have emergency working sessions from time to time through lunch? Sure. Can you work through lunch if you want to? Sure. Is it healthy to do that every day? Not really. And it's not because I think there's some physical or psychological benefit to taking the lunch break. I do think our mind needs rest from time to time. I think socializing is really important. I think getting outside and moving your body is really, really important. But the real reason why I don't like to see people working through lunch is because your employer doesn't own your time. They pay you to produce a given result. So if you're booking meetings through a lunch hour and you feel like you're already overscheduled and overwhelmed, and that's the justification for accepting those meetings, there's a good chance that your team is under-resourced and they're asking you to pay for it. So look, if you don't have the courage yet to say, look, I work at my best when I'm able to manage my own time and my own work schedule, then you don't yet have the confidence levels of an empowered human being. And true leadership and true mastery will elude you until you find the confidence to self-advocate. It's one of the cornerstones of becoming limitless, of becoming greater than what you already are. So if this kind of autonomy is actually important to you and your company's not buying it, you are with the wrong company. But listen, I understand it's difficult to have someone shoot you a meeting request, especially someone who pays your bills, and to say no. So here are some hacks that work for me that will help you build up the sense that you own your time and you can use it and manage it however you see fit. Some things you can try. First thing, if you're going to grab lunch, like for me, I don't bring lunch. I frequently go out and get it. Go grab it at 11:40 before lines start to pile up. You'll save 20 minutes a day just by having your lunch a little bit earlier. And that way, if you want to bring it back to your desk and do some work, you can do it. At least you're not stuck in the pattern of, well, I have this 1 hour meeting, so I guess I just won't eat. Like, that's no good. Take care of your feeding and your nutrition and all that stuff just a little bit ahead of time so that if you really do need that hour to work, you can use it effectively. But here's what I do. Book 12 to 1, noon to 1 p.m. off in your calendar every single day. But do it for the next 3-4 days in a row. Don't do it for a year. If you think that's too bold and you can't pull it off, try this. Book 12:30 to 1:30, because then people that try to book you at noon can only book you for the half hour, and you still get to go and have a full 1 hour lunch. Better still, 1 p.m. is one of the most popular meeting slots. If you happen to not be available for it, people are going to have to find somewhere else in your day to grab time in your calendar. Now, I actually book 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. off every day, not so I can goof off, so I can do the meaningful work that actually moves stuff forward. See, guys, working sessions are useful. Meetings are useless. So if people are booking into one of those useless meetings where we discuss status, where we plan things, think about things, discuss things, talk about things, those are ing things, talking, planning, discussing, hoping. That's not useful work. That's not done work. So if people are trying to book into one of those meetings, it doesn't matter if it's over noon. Get into the habit of telling people, listen, I can do this meeting, but I have 10 or 15 minutes max. I have to cut it at 12:15 p.m. But never say why. Simply follow up with the words, I'd appreciate it if we can be crisp and brief for this one. How can I help? What do you need? What do you most need help with? When you frame it that way, you appear as a busy person, which hopefully you are, doing meaningful work, helping move the company forward, helping teams meet their goals. But you are still very, very willing to help, not at the cost of 1 hour of sitting in a chair in a room where less than 5% of the people do 90% of the talking. Look, if you're frequently attending meetings where, less than 70% of the people show up and most of those people sit there and say nothing and or play on their computers or fidget with their phones, this is not an important enough meeting. Here's another hack. Never even book a meeting that goes longer than 20 minutes. So when people ask you for your time before they reach out in your calendar and grab it, they send you an email, let's say, saying, hey, have you got some time to discuss blah, blah, blah? Say, sure. Grab 20 minutes in my calendar wherever you see it. If they try to book more, go back to the previous step that I just told you, which is I have 10 minutes max. We have to cut it at 15 minutes. I'd appreciate it if we could be crisp and brief for this one. How can I help? Now, if you must work over lunch, here's the best thing to do with lunch. Run lunch and learns. Run team building exercises. Book actual lunch meetings with actual people. Not to discuss business, but to socialize, to create ideas, to think about problems worth solving, to find collaboration opportunities. That's a great use of your lunch hour. The point is, if you do any of these suggestions, you retain true autonomy over your time. See, some people believe that their circumstances are things that happen to them. Believe instead that you design your own life, your own destiny, because the world responds to your presence and your direction and your beliefs and your intention. I have a daily vision and creed that includes my intention, specifically the words to live a life of distinction and to create heroes. You can't do either of those things if you believe and act in ways that reflect the belief that somebody else controls your lunch hour. Simple as that. Alex, awesome question. Thank you sincerely for being a true believer. And friends, thank you for listening. You can reach out at badassagile.com or find me on Twitter at badass_agile. I'll see you next time, and until then, stay badass.